And now we have Masterpiece Megatron in his basic robot mode. And without the gun, just so you can get a good look at him. Let's get a close-up on his face real quick. A lot of people complained when this figure first came out about his not liking his face, but you know, leave them to their own opinions. But I really like it. It has a very just a determined and evil, but not stereotypical villain look. Not like a Ninja Turtle face. Something funny is though that his face does compress in a little bit. That's to press down his helmet for the transformation. And you can still see the paint job on the chest. It gives it a very stainless steel look, but then it's offset by this very dull looking plastic on the abdomen area. His legs are very lanky and thin looking, which is because of the limited space that they could have for the transformation to the gun mode. And his feet are among the only die-cast parts on this toy. And besides the feet, the only other part is the on the back, this spine piece that goes from here down here. That's the only other part, which makes sense because if you want the spine of the figure to be as strong as possible to hold so much of the toy in place. But I wish they would have done the same thing with the waist here, because while transforming, I've noticed that a lot of people saying that he is very fragile, and it is true. It can wobble side to side fairly easily. But other than those obscure differentials between this and the animated toy, it does look remarkably like the animated version of the Generation 1. That's without the fusion cannon. But his fusion cannon is proportionate to his gun mode, but it is wildly off scale once you put it on. If I can put it on his arm, there we go. Which I'm sure you've seen this before, but it wouldn't bother me as much if instead of being on the top of an arm, it was off to his side like this. I mean, you could do it like that, but it also drags the arm inward, and he will have his palm open like this, like he's asking for something. I'm sure that, there could have been other way of doing it, so it looked a little bit better with the fusion cannon. And as you can see with this, it's also kind of giving him a little bit of a gangster lean to the side. Okay, I'll go ahead and take that back off. And among his many accessories, he comes with the gun that he used to kill Prime, Crimzeek, which is probably one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. He's a semi-transparent. It's kind of soft, but not too soft. If you bend him too much, his arms would break. Probably one of the cooler things is his energy sword. I don't want to call it something else or else I get sued. And his very long mace, which is unnecessarily long. They really could have gotten away with only doing it probably about that long, because I think that's about as long as it was in the TV show in the one time that it was used. I don't. That's unrealistically long and annoyingly long. But as far as the toy itself, it is very poseable, and it does stand up fairly easily. You don't have to try hard at all to find the balance point for it. But as you could tell in the transformation, these things pop off very easily. These don't get in the way too often, but whenever you want to move the arm, that popped off. So, and it may not feel like it's all the way in there, but it is, and and both of them pop off with very little force. And with that being said, I still really recommend this figure if you haven't got him already. Even though this toy is about a year and a few months old now. If you don't have him, you're probably going to be costing or spending a pretty penny to get him now if you only go online. I was lucky to find him for a cheap price at the BotCon, so I could get another one to open it. And I was expecting to pay probably about $200, but I paid less than half of that. So yeah, I was fortunate to be able to get one at this cheap of a price. Yeah. And besides that, one other thing is his hands do not look all too great, especially from his fingers are gapped in between, and they look okay from the outside, but from the inside of the hand it just looks a little, there's no other word I can describe it. They just look kind of weird, but all the fingers do, it'll eventually move. Alright, back to the conclusion. Yeah, I do highly recommend this figure if you can get him, and if you don't already have him. He is a beautiful figure. He would look great along with US Masterpiece Starscream by his side, and along with Masterpiece Optimus. So it is essential if you're a collector to get this for your Masterpiece collection. But this is definitely not for kids, just because they're going to break it so many times just transforming it. It is unfathomable of how kids will break this just out of frustration. It is definitely more for the adult collector. Yeah. So if you're thinking about getting this for a kid, don't get a Fast Action Battler toy or something. Do not get them a realistic gun, difficult transformer. They will not like it at all. But it does make a great display piece, I must say, in this form. So, until next time, thank you for watching.